Good morning, everyone. Sorry about the kerfuffle with the link to captioning. Kim has saved the day and put in a nice clean link instead of something chaotic. I have no idea what I did. So, welcome today. This has already been an amazing conference. We had an excellent session last hour, and boy, you have a treat ahead of you right now. Jocelyn Corbin is here with us from Meade County Public Library. I've been fortunate enough to hear her present on this to us at our regional meetings, and oh man, so much is here for us to learn from. Jocelyn is the YA librarian and teen programmer at Meade County. She's also a former high school English teacher and a drama teacher. She's an Army vet and a proud mom of 4. So she is not just full-time worker at work, she's a full-time worker at home as well, and everything else she has her fingers in. So she has a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge to share with us about her experiences with the teens at Meade County. And I really hope that you guys find this presentation as lovely as I've enjoyed. So Jocelyn, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. And I'm going to turn everything over to you. So you're on. One more comment is if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Jocelyn, please put them in the text. And I will be monitoring that and monitoring the chat feature, I should say. So Jocelyn, thanks again. And I'm here if you need me.
Thank you so much, Amy, for that kind introduction. And I'm excited to talk to everybody today about building a strong teen base in your library. So as Amy said, I have a background in education, worked at a high school for around 12 years. So coming in as a librarian, I just kind of brought what I knew worked at the high school and brought it over to the library, and it's actually been pretty successful. And so I wanted to just share some tips. I know that everybody's library is a little different. So hopefully you can find something today that you can incorporate in your library, and I just hope that something helps. Okay, so today what I'm going to be discussing here's a breakdown, is basically programs and initiatives aimed at building a strong teen base in your library and focusing on areas such as a teen advisory board, getting a strong base of teen volunteers, how to partner with the schools, setting up a fun teen section or teen room in your library, and finally I'll go over our Teen Summer Challenge that we did this year because we switched things up and it helped out a lot with getting teens into the library. Oh, I'm waiting for it to load here on my end. But first of all, I think, here we go. We're going to talk about teen advisory boards. I have heard from several people that teen advisory boards have not been successful at their libraries, or they have attempted these and just really didn't get anywhere. And I've had a lot of luck with ours, so I would like to share, kind of what I've done and how we use these. And really, the purpose of having a teen advisory board is just to gain enthusiastic volunteers and promoters at your library. If you think about your board as being that, a group of teen volunteers and a group of teens that really can promote your programs and your library, that's what you get. And you get to incorporate fresh voices and ideas into programs. So, I'm 45 years old, but I get great ideas from teens all the time. Things that I don't even know exist. Sometimes they tell me about. Provide service and leadership opportunities to teens. So being that outlet for them, where they can come and get those extra service hours and leadership opportunities that, for whatever reason they don't get at their school or their community. This is a spot where they can go and get that. And then this creates a safe space for teens where they can really share their opinions and their voice, like I said, and it's going to just overall increase the YA activity at your library. Once you get this started and they start promoting events, you are going to get teens into your library. So I don't know why it's taking so long to load these. Hopefully it comes up here for you. Okay, here's a picture of the Teen Advisory Council that we currently have. Our Teen Advisory Council is made up of around 15 to 20 kids. We've had this for the last 2 years. I would say on average to our meetings, we usually have less than that. Teens are busy and can't always get a ride. So I would say at a meeting, we typically have about 13 to 15 people come. And that's just fine. If they can't make it, they don't get punished. There's no pressure. If they can make it somewhat regularly, then that's fine. But this is a picture of our Teen Advisory Council, and we do promote this on our social media. Our Teen Advisory Council, we call them the TAC. So it's the Teen Advisory Council, just for short, we call them the TAC. That's been a pretty popular thing, being a part of the TAC. And this is how I got started with them. So I tried twice to start Teen Advisory Councils. The first time I just had a flyer that went out. I didn't get a lot of traction. So I tried something different the second time, and it was really helpful. So I just hosted a teen volunteer sign up and training event. I do these quarterly, and I'll talk more about this here in a moment. But at one of the training events, I went ahead and promoted our Teen Advisory Council as a great opportunity, and I accepted applications on the spot. The applications just basically said, what are some ideas that you have for the library? What are some programs that you enjoy at the library? Have you ever had a leadership position before? They weren't very hard questions, but just to get to know them a little bit. And so I accepted those on the spot, which was really helpful. Another thing that I did is I went and spoke to the local middle school and high schools, not just about the Teen Advisory Council, but about different programs that we offered at the library. And I just happened to talk about the Teen Advisory Council there and had applications with me. So that was another chance for me to get applications. And I would say to get started, for your first meeting or two, just host a small advisory council social so they can kind of get to know each other, and have them just vote on maybe like 1 or 2 things at the beginning. But really, they just need to get to know each other first before they will open up. Also, establish multiple channels of communication right away. So what I mean by that is I have a group email that I send out to my TAC. I have them on Remind. I send out announcements there. Sometimes I even mail them just little like thank you letters and things like that. We also put on social media reminders when we have meetings or social events coming up. So multiple channels of communication, that's key. And then you need to be very regular with it. So hold monthly meetings or socials. I really wouldn't skip a month. Even in the summertime, we met more often. We met every 2 weeks instead of once a month. And that was really helpful too. So being very regular with it will help them really feel a part of the TAC or the Teen Advisory Board, and they will just keep coming and having more ideas each month. Okay. As this is coming up here. One of the first things that I did with my teen advisory council is we created a mission statement. So I had kind of put together a rough draft of one, and then I got them together and said, hey, help me, um, you know, help me fix this, help me revise it so you guys can personalize it. And this is what they came up with. So they're a dynamic group of students from grades 7 through 12 who want to actively engage with the Meade County Public Library. TAC members meet regularly to plan, organize activities and programs, support and participate in library events, enhance the teen space, that was a big one, assist with selecting library materials, and promote the library throughout the community. So this is the mission statement that they created, and these are, this is what we go by. So with our Teen Advisory Council, some of the things that they do is they vote for things each month, which I will show you here in a second. But before you can get them to give you their opinions about anything, to have voice on anything, you really got to let them socialize and bond first. They got to feel comfortable talking to you, and they got to feel comfortable sharing their ideas with the other teens. So we had, you can see at this bottom center picture here, we had some bonding opportunities. We did some physical challenges. We had a pizza night. We just had some events so they could get to know each other better first, so they could work together as a team. And then when they do vote on things, I give them choice, which I think is better than giving them complete freedom. So, for example, that top left-hand corner picture there, you can see this is one of the things that they vote on. So these are books for book club. They had 4 choices of books. These were 4 books that were recommended by one of our other librarians. And so we put them on a table, 1, 2, 3, 4. They have a little box. They can come up, they can write down their vote, leave it in the box, and then by the end of the meeting, then we reveal what the winners are of each thing. Another thing that they vote on each month is video game selection. So we buy video games each month for the library for circulation, and they get to vote on which video games they want. So choice is better than freedom. I would also make sure that you keep community service at the heart of it. So just remember that they get to have a vote or a choice into what kind of community service projects you do. They help out all of the programmers, not just me. So that's a big part of staying involved with the community service. And then another thing that I would really recommend is branding and promoting. So when I say that, for our Teen Advisory Council, again, we call ourselves the TAC. We kind of have a catchy name. They created this logo right here, which you can see kind of looks like an emoji. So this is their logo that we put on everything that they select. So if they, select a video game, they select a book for book club, they anything that they pick out, it gets one of these stickers put on it or a social media post with a TAC logo on it. So they have some ownership. It shows that it was selected by the Teen Advisory Council, which has been great. They even have t-shirts that have this logo on it that they wear that I had made for them. The t-shirts have been very popular. Hopefully this pops up here. Okay, so here is a picture of some of the members of TAC who are putting together our seed library. So once a month when we meet, we have a meeting and they vote on different items, but there's also a small community service project or a way that they're going to volunteer at the library that day. So this was them helping one of our other programmers there, Miss Amy, with putting together her seed library. So that was very helpful. Okay, and then hopefully if this pops up here, like I think it's going to, it will show you our okay, I'm sorry. This is one of our social media posts. So you can see here, we had a list of the video games that they picked out from the Teen Advisory Council meeting, and you can see this is their label on it. So we have a lot of social media posts like this where they get little shout outs for things that they have selected. So use that. Use your Teen Advisory Council to help promote items, and it will, it will help your circulation as well. Another thing that our Teen Advisory Council got to vote on is a name for our turtle in our library. We actually have a turtle that got donated to us last April from one of my former students. He needed a name, and we had a naming contest. We had people submit all these names. We had like 400 names submitted, and then they got to vote on they got to vote on the final name for this turtle, and they chose the name Bowser, which was really cute, and that also got put on our social media. Here is finally a picture of the t-shirts that I had created for our Teen Advisory Council. These were a big hit. So, this is part of the branding and, being a part of that Teen Advisory Council, promoting it throughout the community, wearing these shirts. So it says that they are a TAC member, and this is the back there on the left. You can see Mee County Public Library Teen Advisory Council. Again, if you can do this at your library, can make them really feel like they are a part of something big at your library, I highly recommend that you do that. And t-shirts are fun for everyone, so they were, like I said, a big hit if you can swing it. Okay, and then next I'm going to talk about our teen volunteer program. So we have a huge teen volunteer program at the Mee County Public Library. If you are not using teen volunteers, I highly recommend that you go this route. It has just been really a positive thing for us. We had a few teen volunteers before I got there, but now it's a very big program, and it's been really beneficial for us. So first of all, you should do this because you can provide service hours. It's just a good service that you can do for teens. It's a good place for them to come to get service hours. I keep track of the teen volunteers in a few different ways. So we have a binder where they come and they sign in. And so that's, even if I'm not there, we can keep track of when they come in and when they leave. But I have teen volunteer nights, which I'll talk about here soon, where we do signups and training events. And I'll talk more about how I keep track of their hours there. Another reason that you should have teen volunteers is because they can get to know your staff. So the entire staff, I'm talking circulation and programmers, can build these positive relationships with your volunteers, which can be beneficial in so many ways. And you can get the help that you need. So the volunteers are a great way to get help in all areas of your library. So we have had teen volunteers obviously help out with programs, but they've also helped with circulation, with things like weeding, shelving books, creating displays. They've done all kinds of things for different purposes at our library, and it's been awesome. And then you're really, if you think about it, you're developing responsible patrons. The teens go through a training process. So they learn the rules of the library, they respect the library, they get to know the staff, they get to love the library and promote it, and you're really developing like these lifelong responsible patrons who will come back again and again. So if you look at a big picture, you're starting with volunteers, helping them out, they're helping you, but it's really just building these awesome relationships that will last for a long time. Okay, so getting started with your volunteer program, I'm going to talk about what I did. So this on the left is one of the flyers that I created, looking for student volunteers. I have these volunteer sign up and training nights about once a quarter. And during these events, what they do is they can fill out an application. Really, they can fill out an application anytime, but having these events gets a lot more traction. So they can come, they fill out a application to volunteer. Their parents do have to sign it. And then I train them on the spot. So they don't have to come back another day. I just have the one session, sign up, train to be a volunteer. Obviously, I offer food, so that's just an incentive to get them to come in. I invite their parents in too because we need signatures, and with the parents there, they can encourage their teen to sign up for different events. They can confirm that dates will work out, and then also they can sign up for about 3 months worth of programs that they want to volunteer for, which is really great. So we do that, like I said, like once quarterly, we'll do that. And at these events, sometimes I will have applications for the Teen Advisory Council as well. Yes, so I see in the chat here, David's asking, do I use some other program or Remind or some other program to communicate with teens? So yes, I do use Remind. I hear that might be going away, but that's what I use right now. So that has been really beneficial because if I have a teen who can't make it that night, I can send out, or if we find out that we just need more volunteers for something, I can send out a message, an announcement to the group, and somebody usually responds right away. If an event were to get canceled or they're meeting in a different location, anything like that, it's really easy to send it out on Remind. So yes, that is what I use right now. What do I cover in teen volunteer training? Great question. So during teen volunteer training, I go over everything from how do you sign in, where do you go get your volunteer badge, I introduce them to the other programmers that they may be working with, and then we go over rules and policies like do not take pictures of anyone during a program, make sure that your language is clean, how you should dress for these programs, what to do if somebody gets injured or has a question, and we just go over all of those different scenarios. And, we go over like arriving early for a program, cleaning up for programs. We do, those types of things. So hopefully that answers your question, but that's what we do at the training events. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one now. Hopefully I answered your question. But anyway, we have a huge group of volunteers. After they sign up for programs, I put this all on a Google form, which I share out with the other programmers so we can see which teens have signed up for each program. And then if somebody cancels, for example, then I can take their name off the list, send out a remind message, hopefully add in another volunteer. So that way we can all keep track of who our volunteers are, how many we have. And at each month at our programming meetings, if a programmer needs a certain amount of volunteers, they try to let me know ahead of time so I can kind of keep track of that and make sure that I ask for the appropriate amount of volunteers. Okay, and then this is one of our tax service projects that we did. This was a cat cafe. We have done this twice now, and we are about to do our third one next week. No, in 2 weeks, sorry. And this was something that was selected by our Teen Advisory Council, and really they are the ones that pulled it off as well. We get together with our local animal shelter. They bring the cats over. We transform our annex into just basically like this big room where you can sit down, read with a cat, pet a cat, adopt a cat if you want to. We have had about 15 cats adopted through this program, which has been really great for our community. It has also been promoted by the TAC. They've made their own promotional flyers and even videos to promote this, collaboration that we did with the animal shelter. So it's been really great. So that is one of the things that I really, recommend, is keeping service at the heart of your teen advisory council so they can put together these awesome events like this. Okay, waiting for this next slide to pop up here. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about partnering with the schools. So even though I came from our local high school, I actually at first had a hard time kind of getting back into the schools and building these strong partnerships and making them realize that they should use the library more often, that they can rely on us for different things. But slowly but surely, I have started to build pretty strong relationships with our local school systems. And I'm going to talk about some of those now. So I have 3 after-school programs that I do with teens. The first one is called Teen Tuesday. And with Teen Tuesday, what it is I have 15 middle schoolers who come from the middle school. A bus drives them over from the middle school to the library. They stay for 2 hours, and then a bus picks them up from the library and takes them back to the middle school, where they can be picked up by their parents, or they can take an activity bus back to near their homes. But at Teen Tuesday, we do 3 things. So 1, I feed them dinner, and 2, we do an enrichment activity. So that's like something where they learn how to make a craft, they learn a new hobby, or I might have like a presenter come in from like a local community college, or like we have Lincoln Trail Health has come in and talked to them. Yesterday we actually had a magician come in and do like a Halloween magic show. And so they stay for 2 hours, and then they return back to the school. Okay, I have a question here. How do you arrange the buses at the school to drop and pick up students after school? So I arrange this with the family readiness coordinator at the middle school. We established this as a club through the middle school, and she actually arranged the transportation for the buses to drop the kids off and to pick them back up. At the high school, I have another program called Teen Connect. It is very much like Teen Tuesday, but it's high school students. And with this program, I also take homeschool children who are of high school age. So again, it's about 15 kids. They do provide transportation from the high school over to the library on a shuttle bus. They drop them off. The difference here, though, is that the high school will not provide transportation back to the high school. So the teens stay. The program is 2 hours long. Then parents have an opportunity to come pick up their child at the library after the program is over, or they can stay at the library because the library is open until 7. So they are allowed to stay. Some of them go hang out in the teen room when they're done with the program, or they go to other sections of the library. But it's the same thing. It's food, enrichment, and then a recreation activity that we do after that. And sometimes for recreation, we will go outside and play Foursquare. We'll walk the story walk. If the weather's bad, sometimes we'll play video games, things like that. But anyway, it's just been a really big hit. Teen Connect, it's a lot of teens who, maybe didn't make the sports team. They're not involved in a club at school. So this is like another opportunity for them to get involved in something. I also have a third group that comes over. It's the Meade County Creative Crowd. And although Teen Tuesday comes over every Tuesday and Teen Connect comes over every Thursday throughout the school year, the Meade County Creative Crowd only comes about 4 to 6 times a year. And this is just kind of an artsy, craftsy group that comes. There's a picture of them there in the middle. And this is what they did last year. They created this rock snake for the library. That was their big project that they did. So this is Rocco the rock snake. They painted that first big rock as the head of Rocco. They created that sign and they painted about the first 20 rocks. And then the community jumped in and contributed rocks after that. And we're now at about 600 rocks. So this was, just a cool little thing that we put together. And then they also put together art pieces for our community art show. So that was the focus of Meade County Creative Crowd. And we will pick that up again after Christmas. I'll probably meet with them again, maybe 4 or 5 times before that art show. So they can put together some pieces and then they have their own Meade County Creative Crowd display at the art show. So that's kind of a cool way for the middle schoolers to get involved. So these were some partnerships that I had with the schools. If you can arrange transportation with the schools, I would contact the Board of Education if you can to see if that's a possibility. But it has been really successful, and I highly recommend if you can get an after-school program started to do it because it's been really great for us. Some other ways that I have partnered with the schools, as soon as my slide pops up here, is I've offered field trips. So I had just recently, every 7th and 8th grader came over from the middle school. All of their English classes came and they did a tour of the library. So during their tour, I just gave them, a brief overview of the library. We did a scavenger hunt and in each class that came over had a chance to win a prize at the end. So it was a great way to get exposure, to get teens in the library. And, it was great for the teachers too, to kind of see what was at the library and what sources they can use. So I highly recommend doing that. I've also gone to the high schools and I've done a lot of different presentations. So I, for example, went and visited every single freshman English class recently. And I set up a reading challenge for them through Beanstack. It was called the Fall Into Reading Challenge. And we did an initiative where if they completed this reading challenge, I would host a pizza party for them at their school. So it was just for the first quarter. And we just wrapped that up. So we're about to have our pizza party. We had about 40 kids that finished the challenge out of, about 400, but it still gave them exposure to some of the programs at the library. What Beanstack was, they got to sign up for digital library cards. Just so much happened with me going to do those speeches at the English classes. And then I've also been in to talk to the social studies classes this year, the AP social studies classes, about a writing contest, and offered services to help them at the library if they would come in after school and get some assistance. So that was a big hit too. Some other ideas, though, are that you can host high school club meetings at your library or events there. We've done that several times. community events, I'm going to talk about that more here in a moment. But if you can hold community events for teens with partnerships with the schools, that's always a really big hit. And then we have talked about this, but haven't done it yet. Holding professional development days for teachers at your school will help kind of expose them to the resources that you have at the library, which in turn can get teens out there. Okay, I have a question here. When reaching out for field trips to the schools or classes coming to you, do you reach out to your teacher connection or do you reach out to your administration? How do you get those processes started? Okay, great. So with the middle school, I got the field trip set up with their librarian, actually. So I went over and talked to her, and she set up the field trips through the English classes. And then going over to the high school, I talked to the PLC leader of the freshman English classes. So the teacher who was in charge of basically the professional learning committee of the freshman English classes. I talked to her. I did it on a small scale first instead of just talking to whoever is in charge of the English department or administration. I just talked to a couple of teachers. We have actually we've been asked to come to their professional development events before, and there you can talk to teachers and kind of see what they want and see what you can offer to them. So that's been really helpful too. We actually had our bookmobile was at one of the professional developments over the summer. We went there and we sold books for a quarter to teachers. And there we were able to talk to a lot of teachers, and that was a way that we were able to connect with them too. Do we have any schools in the county that have been less receptive to outreach? And if so, how do you handle that? Yes, so the high school hasn't been as receptive as the middle school. And so to handle that, I have really reached out to teachers more than I have administrators because it's such a big building. And if you can come in and talk to one or two classes, then word kind of spreads and other teachers will invite you in. That's my best advice for you. And offering these reading incentives for classes, that has been pretty cool too. You can also offer to have field trips at your library too. So for example, I have this sign up here that just go with it. That was an improv and drama group that would come over about once a week. But I do have a field trip coming up where I've invited the lady who does drama club. Her club is going to come over in January, and I have Kentucky Shakespeare doing a stage combat class for them. So I told her, like, hey, the library will pay for this program if you guys would like to come over. So she just arranged the transportation, and they're coming over. So if you can connect with like the high school clubs, you can just get a concentrated group of people that will want to come over and do these programs. I would say that the community events have been really huge too with connecting with the schools. So here are two ways that I have provided community programs for teens in partnership with the schools. So the first one on the left there, I call it the graduation lending closet. And all I did, this was super easy, I just put out these flyers in a box at the library where I was collecting used cap and gown sets from recent graduates. And once we got a collection of those, we just promoted it at the high school. Hey, seniors, just so you know, you don't have to buy your cap and gown this year. We have these cap and gowns at the library. You can come pick them up. And all you have to do is buy your tassel. So that has been like something that the high school was willing to promote for us. And so that has been really great. I've done some scholarship workshops, which they were happy to promote. And then the one here on the right, the Princess Project, I started this a few years ago at the high school and have brought it to the library, but it's been just such a huge hit. We had one again this past weekend, and it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it. If you can collect dresses, formal wear, you just have a donation box, collect formal wear, and then have a day where you give it out. That's what it is. It's a Princess Project. So I just collect dresses, shoes, accessories. It's really grown. We now have people who donate all kinds of other things too, and they donate their time, and we hand these out. We had a charcuterie board out. We had this company that's called Bottoms Board. They put together this big charcuterie spread. We had that out where people could come in, they could get food, they could try on dresses, take a dress, take shoes, take makeup, whatever we had out for them to take jewelry, and it was a huge hit. So we, this past weekend, gave out 36 dresses to teens. We gave out 2 cap and gown sets, and just countless numbers of shoes, makeup sets. I even invited this former student of mine who is the Miss US Amerifest right now. I wish I had pictures of her up, but I created this before this past weekend, this presentation. But if you look on our social media, you'll see pictures of her. She helped girls pick out dresses. She took pictures with them. She wore her sash and her crown. But this was, a great partnership with the schools. They let everyone know about this event. We've even had this event in the gymnasium at the high school last spring, right before prom. So this was something that they got on board with us. And it has been, just such a tremendous success in the name of Meade County Public Library. If you need help getting started with the Princess Project, I am all about helping anybody get started with one of those. So let me know. Another thing that I have created with the schools is we did not have a co-op program before I got there, or a career-based instruction program. So this was actually pretty easy to do. I just reached out to the high school. They already had co-ops in place. So I was able to create a co-op last year for the education pathway, and it didn't take too much to write up a little proposal. But basically, we had a co-op who came last year from the education program 2 days, she came every day for 2 hours a day, and she also works at the library 2 days a week after school. Her name was Ava, and this year our co-op's name is Brenna, and there's a picture of her there. She's a senior this year, again, comes 2 hours a day, works 2 days a week after school as well. She's now part of the early childhood development pathway, and she has just been a huge help. She does babbling babies, she helps with toddler time, she helps with kids and coffee, she helps create displays like the one you see there. As I mentioned before, we have a turtle, and she's created this program called Bowser's Books after our turtle, which are book recommendations for children. It's been a huge success. So if you can get a co-op at your library, if you don't have one, I would reach out to the high school and see if you can get started with that. And then we also have community-based instruction. So with community-based instruction, this is, if you don't know what this is, these are students with special needs at the high schools who get exposure to the community and in various ways. And so we had we have several students that do this, but we had one last year named Ryan, who you can see there on the right, who came every single day for 1 hour, and he worked with our custodial staff. And we really just took him in, and he really became part of our little library family. And actually, we were a huge support to him. He actually lost one of his parents last year during his senior year, and we were a huge support for him. So, it was a great opportunity. We also have career-based instruction students that come like once a week. I have a group that comes, and they are like severely handicapped and disabled students. Two of them are in wheelchairs, but they come to the library. They get exposure to a community environment. We give them small tasks like maybe sorting Legos, testing out markers, things like that. But it has just been a great partnership that we have been able to build with the schools. Okay, I have a couple questions here. Do the schools pay for their co-op students, or does that come from the library funding? So our director has allowed this to be a paid co-op. So like when Brenna comes each day, she is paid for those 2 hours that she comes, and then she also has a part-time job at the library after school. So it is paid. I believe it's minimum wage, but yes, it is a paid co-op. Our CBI students do not get paid. It is just about exposure to, community locations. So like public buildings and things like that, but the CBI students do not get paid for coming to the library. Those are good questions. But if you can set up a co-op or ask about CBI at your local high school, oftentimes schools are really looking for places where they can send students. So the library is a really great place to create a co-op or to have CBI opportunities. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about teen spaces really quickly. So if you are lucky enough to have a dedicated room, I would create a teen room if possible. I see Amy, I'm wrapping it up. And then I have a teen space where you can grab, it's like a little maker space. You can grab these little baskets and do crafts. That way I don't have to always be there giving them things to do, but I also have cards, board games, and always snacks. You always have to have snacks there. So I just put out bags of chips, bottles of water, juice boxes, something easy, but something that they can have in that teen room. And then finally, I would just have, how do you make it a cool teen corner? I recommend mascots. Here are two of ours, Bowser, our turtle, and we have an alien named Shimon, a blow-up alien. So mascots, food, freebies. My freebies are usually just stickers and bookmarks, but something little that they can grab. And then finally, I'm just going to show you what our teen summer challenge look like. So I'll just recommend, don't just do books. When you do your summer reading challenge or your summer teen challenge, include programs, include your TAC recommendations, provide choice, have different levels of prizes. This is what ours look like. And the Teen Advisory Council really created this for me. I said, hey, I want to put this together. And you can see it has some silly stuff on there, like take a selfie with the turtle, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. And they actually had to email me a little video book review, and we use that on our social media. So anyway, I just included that at the end so you can take a look at what we did. I know I went over that very quickly, but final tips, just don't fear the teens, invite them in, let them have voice, let them be on your social media, let them do displays in your library, build relationships with them, do your best to get into the schools, and give your teens their own space, and always provide snacks, because that is the most important factor in getting teens to come back to your library. Are there any other questions that I need to address that I haven't? Okay, best times and days in the week to reach the greatest amount of kids. I've found Tuesdays and Thursdays have been best for us, 3 to 5 o'clock.
Jocelyn, thank you so very, very much. This was great. Obviously, you've had a lot of chatter and interaction. I put Jocelyn's, it came up mail to again. Take mail to off of Jocelyn's email, and it's there. So you can contact her. She's super great in responding. Clearly knows her stuff, as you've seen today. Jocelyn, thank you for all the work that you've done and taking your time to share this with us. A lot of very positive comments to you. This has just been really great. I will have the presentation, or the presentation currently is available on the main page of the KYAC conference. You have access to that. If you can't find it, just shoot me an email. I'll send it to you directly, not a problem. Jocelyn, take a great big breath. You made it, you're done. It was amazing. Thank you so much. Don't sign off yet. Sit and look at the comments in the chat for you. So they're always, everyone here is so encouraging too. So take a break, everyone. Enjoy lunch. Sorry for Central Region that it's a little early for you, but maybe you're hungry anyway. So we will be back again at 1 o'clock Eastern time and at noon Central time. Again, apologies to Central Region for that. There'll be 3 different sessions in each of our rooms. So take a peek at the calendar or the schedule and see what might draw your attention, and enjoy your break, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.